Class, you are welcome to module 3 of GSP use of English. In this module we're going to focus on reading comprehension. If you can remember, in the first interaction we had, that is in module 1, I explained to you that I'm going to take 3 modules, that is module 1 and then module 3. And also this module is for first semester 2019-2020 session. And in this module, we are going to look at the strategies, forms, skills of understanding reading material. As we know, reading comprehension simply means understanding. So in this module, we are going to look at so many ways of understanding any given text we come across, and also attached with the PDF, which comprises of detailed explanation of what is presented on these slides. In addition to that, we're going to have an interactive session or interactive group where you're going to ask questions related to this particular module, that is module 3, reading comprehension. Look at reading comprehension. By comprehension, simply we mean understanding. So we're going to look at the ways, skills, strategies, forms one can use for him to comprehend reading material. To read is to engage in a dialogue with the text. Reading is an aspect of communication that is highly rated. It helps us to gather information about the world and improve as human beings. It is one of the most important activities that students perform. Going by this paragraph, we can see that when you are reading, you are engaging yourself with a kind of dialogue with the particular text you are reading. As you read, you understand a lot of things that will help you to gain more knowledge, to be aware of something, and so on. And it also helps one to gather information about the world he is. Even if you are here in Nigeria, you can read what is taking place in America, Saudi Arabia, and other countries, and it also help us to improve as human beings, because when you are reading, you are free to read any material available, such as medical text and so on. As the paragraph says, it is the most important activity student performs for one to excel, for one to pass examination, for one to write an assignment, and for one to write a project. He or she has to read. So it is very important activity in students and other people's. There are many reasons for reading or purpose of reading, some of which are for information. As a student, we need to gain knowledge on issues concerning our assignment, research work, projects. So for us to get information, we have to read. Also, understanding. Reading makes it possible for us to grasp the meaning of a passage of words, phrases, paragraphs, and texts. That is, the more you read, the more you understand. And also, we read for investigation. That is, reading allows us to carry out a thorough, detailed examination of issues raised in the text. We read to learn how to write. To write a good research paper or project or story, one has to read professionals' texts or what professionals in the field have done. Such reading will help the reader to handle the paper or the projects and develop on it. We also read for entertainment. Reading provides creation, which is important and for all-round education. We also read to learn how to read well. By this is seen that constant reading exposes one to different types of text and their different demands, because we are not applying the same reading to all materials. So the more one reads, the more he or she exposes to different texts and how to read such text. We also read to increase our communication skills. Reading is essential for acquisition of ideas and information needed for communication. An extensive reader is often more adept at communication because of the repertoire of knowledge gathered through reading. It is a well-known fact that those who read different texts communicate effectively than those who don't read. We read for vocabulary development. Reading exposes one to words, some familiar, some unfamiliar. As you read, you are coming across different words. As the explanation says, some are familiar words while some are new. So the more you read, the more you come across new words. It also deepens our thinking. Through reading, one is often encounters different perspectives on an issue. That is, a particular issue might have different opinion by different writers. So for one to get all these point of views of different writers is through reading. That is, the more you read, the more you broaden your reading skills. What are the skills one uses for reading? Reading can be seen as an engagement between a reader and a text to obtain meaning by combining textual information with the reader's prior knowledge of context and reality. It is the most important tool you can use to gain knowledge, understanding, or interpretation of something written. It enables you to build your intellectual capacity. One can read for leisure or for specific academic purpose. Now we're going to look at intensive and extensive reading under the skills. Intensive reading is a process whereby a reader concentrates on a relatively short text in order to bring out its full meaning and to understand the writing techniques involved. The important thing in extensive reading is not how many reading materials the reader has read, but how well a text under study is comprehended. So if we understand this explanation, we can see that extensive reading is more of understanding. It doesn't focus on the total number of materials read, but the particular material one reads, how he understands that particular text. While extensive reading involves the developing the habit of going through large quantities of text, learners can build their language competence, progress in their reading ability. That is, extensive reading has to do with large number of texts rather than short one. That is, In extensive reading, one reads at his leisure time, so he is exposed to different texts of his choice, and if he wants, he can read 5 novels, 2 novels a day, because he is dealing with the materials of his interest. While in extensive reading is more of short text, which is more of a academic purpose, like reading for examination, reading for test. This kind of reading it engages one with more concentration, because at the end of the day the reader is expected to answer certain questions in order for him to pass the exams or test. While under extensive reading, one is free to read maybe at night, in the morning, 10, 20 texts, depending on his speed and interest. And under extensive reading, one is free to read whatever his skills. The types of the reading skills we have scanning. Scanning entails reading quickly through a text to search for specific information or idea. Scanning is used to arrive at a specific idea. To some extent, it is very much like skimming. The only area of difference is that scanning involves more attention than skimming. This is adapted when looking for specific information. Example, information including title of a book, name of an animal or country or world, etc. While skimming involves glancing through a text to get a general idea of what it is all about. The strategy helps the reader to get sense of a text in its totality. That is what the text is all about. That is, skimming is used to obtain an overview, and to skim is to look at something briefly and quickly. This is done in order to have a general idea of something. Some people do this when they find themselves in a bookshop or in a library and they are attracted to a new book. They flip through the book looking at the contents or cover of the book or novel. So we can see that skimming is reading quickly but looking for a specific information, while scanning is for looking for a specific information, while skimming is for looking at a general idea or information. The third one is critical reading. This involves analyzing and assessment of the text. It aims at providing a balance between what the writer has said and what he or she has left unsaid. That is, through critical reading, the reader reads in order to see the gap of that particular that is another method of reading is SQ3R. The first S is survey. The Q stands for question. The first R stands for read. The second R stands for recall, and the last R stands for review. So by this formula, you can see that each word has a particular meaning. That is, the S has its meaning, the Q, and the 3 R's. Let's take each one and look into it. The first S, that is the S, means survey. The first step is survey, which entails skimming the document. For one to read a text, first of all, he has to skim skim the particular document or text. That is what is called survey. To look at the text, to skim in order to see whether what you are looking for is in that particular text. Then the second step is question. The essence of survey is to help to direct the mind to the relevant issues in the text. That is, as you are surveying, you are asking your question, okay, is this what I'm looking for? Is it the particular page? All this and that. And the next step is read. That is, the first R is read. It is the time for a detailed reading of the document, paying particular attention to useful sections that related to the question you have in mind. That is, as you have a text, you survey the text. The next thing, you ask yourself some questions, whether the material or the point you are looking for is there. When that idea or information is found, then the next thing is to read it. After reading, then the next step is second R, that is recall. What one can remember from what he has been read. That it is good to remember what you have read, so that will help you to answer a question, because recalling what is read shows that there is a comprehension. And the last R, that is the third R, is review. This recalls for re-examination of the. For effective reading, simply means engagement with the text using appropriate strategy to get textual meaning within a time frame appropriate to the type of reading. Effective reading has 3 distinct stages. For one to read a material effectively, there are 3 stages. The first stage is pre-reading. This is the stage that precedes the actual reading. It involves the deployment of certain techniques that help to focus attention, stimulate curiosity, and help the reader to form opinion on the text and its title. That is, before actually engaging into reading a text, one has to survey. That is, one has to look at the certain aspects of that particular text. That is, the opinion of the text, what the title is all about. All these are something one has to prepare himself prior to reading. And the next stage is the reading stage. At the reading stage, as one is reading the text, he is asking him or herself some question. Does the text meet my expectation? Because prior to reading, that is during pre-reading stage, you have a kind of constant at the back of your mind that will this book is what I am looking for? Then maybe you say, it is the book I'm looking for. Then during reading, you can also ask some question to see whether the information contained in that particular text is what you are actually looking for. Then the next thing is the level of comprehension as you are reading, whether you are comprehending what you are reading. Because if you are not comprehending, there are steps post reading. At various stages of reading process, a reader adopts strategies that enable him or her construct meaning from the textual clue. Some of the strategies are examined below. That is, from the some strategies one needs to follow in order to comprehend a particular text. The first one is predicting. Predicting is a stage that a reader employs to anticipate the textual meaning. That is, when you come across a book, you can predict what will happen in that particular text. Your prediction will help you to read that particular text in order to see whether your prediction is correct or otherwise. The next thing is inferring, that is through the combination of textual clues with personal experience and knowledge, effective readers draw conclusion beyond what explicitly stated. As you are reading, you are expected to infer beyond what is written in that particular text. For example, maybe in the text you come across a sentence which says that he banged the door. So as a reader, you can infer that banging the door, you can look at it beyond the words to see, maybe that person is annoyed or is angry, that is why he performed that action. So you are inferring beyond the words used in that particular text. By doing so, it will help you to comprehend a text. And then also there is evaluation. As you are reading, you are expected to assess and judging what is being read to determine the accuracy of the author's perspective. For you to make a good comprehension or to have a good understanding of a text, you are expected to be evaluating what you are reading. The next thing is synthesizing. The stage of synthesizing refers to the combination of information gathered from a text with those obtained from other sources to create a new unique understanding. That is, you can make a kind of connection between your prior knowledge and the particular text you are reading. And then the next thing is questioning. As a reader engages with the text, he or she asks questions about its direction, the author's intention, and how successful they are. A reader is always interested in whether a text makes sense. So the is monitoring. Monitoring is very similar to questioning. It is used by a reader to assess his or her level of understanding and to discover when a text is no longer making adequate sense. It is similar to questioning in the sense that as you are monitoring what you have read, at that particular stage, you are asking yourself few questions. The ability to answer those questions is that it shows that you are comprehending, and that is what is monitoring about. And the last step is fix up strategy. The fix up or fix it strategy are techniques of fixing the problem of temporary loss of meaning. Maybe as you are reading the text, then you lost some meaning. So the fix up strategy is to reread that particular paragraph for you to understand the meaning of that particular. Is improving reading speed. You know, as you are reading, you are expected to read with a kind of speed, because if you are reading word by word, you might not comprehend what you are reading. By following some of the techniques and strategies we have explained so far, you can improve your reading efficiency and speed. It is important to always weigh the read off between speed and comprehension in choosing a reading method. That is, as you are reading a text, you have to weigh these two things, speed and comprehension. That is, you read at a particular speed, but you shouldn't forget about comprehension, understanding. But when you read with a kind of speed that you don't understand the text, so there is a problem. And also, when the speed is very slow and you cannot understand or comprehend, there is also a problem. So one has to weigh the speed and comprehension as he reads a text. The commonest impediment to speed reading are identified as subvocalization, which is sometimes referred as lisping, which results in breakdown of text into senseless chunks, which in turn interferes with a full comprehension of a text. Self-vocalization is a situation whereby you are reading and vocalizing what you are reading, so it slows your reading and it might affect your comprehension. The next thing is finger pointing. Is another impediment which results in word by word reading and by extension more eyes movement in the process of reading. That is, when one is reading word by word by pointing with his finger, that kind of reading slows the speed of reading, and it also affects comprehension. The next one is regression. Is another threat to efficient reading and reading speed. The reader keeps reading what has been passed in an effort to digest some details. This regression is a situation whereby the reader reads forward, come backward, read forward, come backward. So all these are affecting the speed of reading, and they end up affecting the comprehension of a particular text. Thank you for listening. I hope you're going to go through all the slides carefully, and then also to read the attached PDF for more explanation. Hope to meet you in our interactive session, which will be a kind of a question and answer session. Bye bye.